For centuries, humans have told stories about terrifying creatures that supposedly lived on Earth. Most of them were dismissed as myths, fantasy, or ancient legends with no scientific proof. But what if some of those mythical monsters were actually real? Because as scientists uncovered fossils over the last century, something shocking became clear. Long before humans, and even before dinosaurs ruled the planet, Earth was home to creatures so strange, so massive, and so terrifying they almost look like something from a fantasy movie. And the craziest part? We have the fossils to prove it. In this video, we're going to uncover 10 mythical-looking creatures that actually existed in real life. Coelurosaucus. When people think about prehistoric monsters, dinosaurs usually come to mind. But dinosaurs weren't the only giants roaming the planet. Around 120 million years ago, during the Cretaceous period, a massive amphibian called Coelurosaucus ruled ancient rivers. At first glance, it looked like a salamander. But there was one huge difference. This creature could grow over 5 meters long, about the size of a car. Imagine a salamander that big hiding at the bottom of a prehistoric river. Coelurosaucus was an ambush predator. It would stay perfectly still underwater, waiting for fish, reptiles, or animals that came to drink at the river's edge. Then suddenly, snap, its massive jaws would strike in an instant. Scientists even believe it sometimes ate members of its own species. Fossils of Coelurosaucus were discovered in Australia, in areas that were surprisingly cold for amphibians. Ironically, that cold climate may have helped it survive, because large dinosaurs preferred warmer regions. For millions of years, this giant amphibian quietly ruled its environment. Therizinosaurus. Most people recognize dinosaurs like T-Rex or Velociraptor, but Therizinosaurus looks like something straight out of a nightmare. When its fossils were first discovered in Mongolia in 1948, scientists didn't even think it was a dinosaur. Its claws were so enormous that researchers initially believed they belonged to a giant prehistoric turtle. But later studies revealed something even stranger. Therizinosaurus was actually part of the theropod dinosaur family, the same group as T-Rex. It wasn't a meat eater. It was a giant plant eater. This bizarre dinosaur stood nearly 10 meters tall, weighed around 5 tons, and had claws that could reach 1 meter in length. Those massive claws weren't for hunting. Instead, they were likely used to pull down branches, strip leaves, and defend against predators. If fossils hadn't confirmed its existence, most people would assume this creature was pure fantasy. Anomalocaris. Hundreds of millions of years before dinosaurs existed, the oceans were already filled with terrifying predators. One of the most famous was Anomalocaris. Its name literally means strange shrimp, but it wasn't a shrimp at all. Around 500 million years ago, during the Cambrian period, this creature was the top predator of the seas. Its body was long and streamlined, like a living torpedo. It had large compound eyes with thousands of lenses, giving it advanced vision for detecting prey. At the front of its body were 2 flexible spiny arms used to grab victims, and its mouth looked like a circular saw made of hard plates. It could crush shells and tear apart other marine animals. For decades, scientists were confused about this creature. Different fossil parts were discovered separately, and researchers believed they belonged to 3 completely different animals. Only later did scientists realize they were all pieces of the same monster. Hallucigenia. Some prehistoric creatures are so strange that scientists struggle to understand them. Hallucigenia is one of them. This tiny marine animal lived about 500 million years ago, and its appearance is almost unbelievable. Its body was long and soft. Sharp spikes stuck out of its back like defensive armor, and underneath were thin legs that looked like tiny stilts. When scientists first studied its fossils, they accidentally reconstructed the animal upside down. They thought the spikes were legs and the legs were tentacles. For years, textbooks showed the creature incorrectly. Only later did researchers discover the real structure. Hallucigenia had a small head, simple eyes, and a tube-shaped mouth used to suck up tiny food particles from the ocean floor. Today, scientists believe it may be an early relative of velvet worms, which still exist today. Mosasaurus. If you've seen Jurassic World, you probably remember the massive sea monster jumping out of the water to swallow its prey. That creature is called Mosasaurus. And surprisingly, it was real. Mosasaurus wasn't a dinosaur. It was actually a giant marine reptile closely related to modern monitor lizards and Komodo dragons. Living around 80 to 66 million years ago, it dominated the ancient oceans. Some individuals grew over 17 meters long. Its jaws were lined with sharp teeth that curved inward, making escape almost impossible once prey was caught. The first Mosasaurus fossil was discovered in the 18th century in the Netherlands, and it became one of the earliest discoveries proving that giant prehistoric reptiles once ruled the seas. Gecalopterus. Most people are already afraid of scorpions. Now imagine one the size of a motorcycle. That was Gecalopterus. This giant sea scorpion lived around 390 million years ago. It could grow up to 2.5 meters long, making it one of the largest arthropods ever to exist. Unlike modern scorpions, Gecalopterus was an active hunter. With massive claws at the front of its body, it could capture fish and other animals with ease. Fossils of this terrifying predator were discovered in Germany and Scotland, showing that shallow ancient seas were once home to these gigantic arthropods. Tiktaalik. Around 375 million years ago, a strange fish appeared that would become one of the most important creatures in evolutionary history. Its name was Tiktaalik. Unlike normal fish, Tiktaalik had something very unusual. A neck. Its head was structurally separated from its body, allowing it to move more freely. Even more incredible, its fins contained bones similar to wrists and elbows. This meant it could push itself up in shallow water or muddy riverbanks. Tiktaalik represents a critical evolutionary step between fish and land animals. The fossil was discovered in 2004 in the Canadian Arctic. Millions of years ago, that frozen region was actually a warm environment full of rivers and swamps, perfect for this transitional species. Telemonstrum. Some fossils still confuse scientists to this day. One of the most mysterious is Telemonstrum, also known as the Tully Monster. It was first discovered in 1958 in Illinois by an amateur fossil collector named Francis Tully. The creature looked completely alien. Its body resembled a worm. It had a long trunk with a claw-like mouth at the end, and its eyes sat on long stalks extending sideways from its body. Scientists have debated its classification for decades. Some believe it was related to fish. Others think it might be a type of worm or mollusk. Even today, its true identity remains one of the biggest mysteries in paleontology. Hatzegopteryx. If dragons had existed in real life, they might have looked like Hatzegopteryx. This massive flying reptile lived about 70 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. It belonged to the group known as pterosaurs. Its wingspan could reach 10 to 12 meters, roughly the size of a small airplane. But what made it even more terrifying was its skull. It had a huge, powerful beak capable of attacking prey the size of small dinosaurs. Because it lived on an island where many dinosaurs were unusually small, Hatzegopteryx may have been the top predator of the entire ecosystem. Imagine a creature that ruled both the sky and the land. Dunkleosteus. Finally, we come to one of the most brutal predators ever to live in the ocean. Dunkleosteus. This giant armored fish lived around 360 million years ago. It could grow between 8 and 10 meters long. But the most terrifying part, it had no teeth. Instead, its jaws were made of sharp bony plates that functioned like giant blades. Its bite was incredibly powerful, capable of crushing shells, bones, and other armored creatures. Some scientists believe its bite force rivaled that of T-Rex. Fossils of Dunkleosteus have been found mainly in North America, particularly in Ohio. For millions of years, it ruled the prehistoric oceans as an unstoppable predator. Looking at these creatures, one thing becomes clear. The line between myth and reality is not always as clear as we think. Some animals that seem like they belong in fantasy stories actually existed millions of years. And who knows, deep in unexplored oceans or remote jungles. So now I'm curious, which creature surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy discovering the strange and mysterious creatures of our planet, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this.